Welcome back to Coach Cameron's podcast. In today's podcast, we'll be responding to a listener from Southwest Missouri, and he has some. I'm not going to read his question in detail, but he had some questions about my podcast, episode 365. On the he's interested in how the 3 rules of engagement applies to players that are of older age, and how to really adapt them, and wanted some clarification on when I talk about take a touch or on the dribble. So I'm just going to review the my rules of engagement, because when I did episode 365, I did it for my vehicle, but I have the rules of engagement in front of me, and I'm going to be emailing Chris from Southwest Missouri my rules of engagement in Word form. But this is how it works. And before I go into this, I'll explain why I developed this. As a player growing up, I was the fast kid, so everything was hit it up the field, and I got to go forward. And I would only go forward, and I would only run full speed and try to get breakaways. That's all I focused on. And it was fun because I like scoring goals, and I became very good at finishing, but I was very inadequate in checking the ball, receiving it, holding on to it, and playing soccer. That's really fun, which is combining passes with others, and kind of how my game developed after retirement. But I wish I could go back in time and play the game differently, because speed was always there. I can always get a breakaway. That's easy to do. It's always easy to run full speed forward. But what is hard is going to get the ball, receiving it, looking up, making decisions, and going through that process over and over and over again. So I wish I could go back in time. So as a coach, I developed this, rules and guidelines that I wish I had as a kid, so that would give to everyone. It's helpful for everybody. So anyways, this is how it develops. So, and there's 3 stages of it, but the rules are very simple. Take a touch, look up, make a decision. But there's stages to it. So in stage 1, it says never lose the ball on a pass. It's better to lose the ball dribbling until a pass is found. So I always tell teams, when I introduce this system to them, to never lose the ball on a pass or a shot. Lose it dribbling. So you have time to look up. You have to go through that process of really trying to identify a real pass, a real opportunity to go forward. Because when you lose possession on a pass, at the next level, you're going to have to, your whole team's going to have to run 80 yards, and they're all going to hate you for it. So you got to figure that out real quick. And I base it on the certainty law, which is 100% certain that you're going to make that pass to your team before attempting it. So the other note I make on stage 1 is quick, short restarts, no design set pieces of any kind. And, get the ball set up, everyone get forward, and we hit it long. That's so wasteful. You want to combine the ball to as many players on your team as possible, because then they go through the process of learning. A game environment is number 1, in my opinion. They must experience it, what it's like to be able to receive the ball in a real game, real pressure, and be able to combine with their teammate. And once they do that so many times over, they're going to gain a newfound confidence, regardless of skill ability. They'll learn how to trap it, and it might be untechnical looking at first, but let them go through that process. Everyone's going to trap it a little bit differently based on their upbringing, but they have to go gain that confidence of playing a certain way, and it well developed over number of reps. So as a team, you want short restarts, no design set pieces of any kind, and then you want to develop that where you're getting 10 to 15 consecutive passes, sequences with your team prior to moving on to level 2. I do make a note that you will notice your team will be going backwards a lot, with the goalkeeper getting a lot of touches on the ball. So you'll be going backwards a lot because they're just trying to combine passes to their team. Stage 2 is play the ball forward much as possible. Stage 1 is pass it any direction. So when you advance at stage 2, you want to focus on going forward much as possible. Passes are directly forward or directly backwards are safer than the diagonal passes forward and backwards. So balls passed across, square passes are the most dangerous passes in all levels of soccer. So quick, short restarts are still required. All throw-ins, goal kicks, kickoffs must go to teammates regardless of direction. And then when you get 15 to 25 consecutive passes prior to moving to level 3. So you want to develop. So stage 1 is any direction. 10 to 15 consecutive passes with your team every time in possession on average. And then advance to stage 2, which is pass the ball forward much as possible. But the 100% certainty loss still exists. Once you're able to get 15 to 25 consecutive passes, you can move on to stage 3. Stage 3 states dictate passing sequences tactically driven. So set pieces designed based on situations given may require more time to set up. Quick restarts are based on tactical supported data given to the players. Massive attack will be utilized based on what opposition is giving. And then level 3, when you enter the stage 3 of it, you'll look bad for a while. Your possession will be lost more than normally expected. Passes sequence will drop to 3 to 5 to 5 to 10, depending on the difficulty of the team you're facing. This is caused because level 3 requires a very quick transition from a defensive posture to an attacking posture. So stage 3, you're actually implementing, you're trying to implement a tactics like creating 2v1s on the sidelines, finding the 9, laying it off to a 10, and hitting the ball in between the defenders with 2s and 3s, making overlapping runs over 7 and 9, depending how you think and how you make your decisions. But you make things more tactical, which is much more difficult versus just kind of playing free flowing. Now, having success at that level is very difficult. And I've actually changed my tune with stage 3. I've kind of just let them self-discover way to go on their attack, but encourage them to go forward as much as possible, but to their team, versus trying to dictate everything. I've done it in so many different ways where I'm stage 3, our possession is there. We would find the 9, and every time the 10 would receive the ball facing the attacking direction, I would have 7-11 run across and try to find different modes of attacking, different tactics. Every time I mess with that, it would definitely regress your team's ability to have success. And what I've noticed is when I put it on them to make their own decisions of see what you see, you guys identify what you need to identify and attack that way, is so much more better. It's a better situation when you put the ownership on the players in the game, and then when you have halftime or practice or an opportunity to talk to your kids, you just kind of reinforce doing negative things like passing the ball backwards to the opposition, which causes everyone to have to deal with that right away. Making square passes that get intercepted and not looking up, just little things that it's going to help them possess the ball. So I would focus on stage 1 and stage 2. Take a touch, look up, make a decision over and over and over again, so your entire team will develop. Every player's in a different position, though. So some players can have possession of the ball without even taking a touch, and they're able to look up and make those decisions. And it's a different situation. So I hope that answers your question, Tyler. There's no absolutes. I mean, I would say keep experimenting, keep trying, but put the ownership of the game to the players. Allow them to really dictate their development. And the one thing you can do is make sure that your kids are getting as many touches as possible in a real game environment. Whether you have to manufacture a game or you guys find games, whether it's futsal, indoor, 3v3 tournaments, or what have you, they have to be able to handle the ball under pressure and combine with their teammates as much as possible. And once they're confident on doing that, then a lot of great things can happen. I hope that answers your question. I will email you with my stages of development, and they change over time, though. Stage 1 and 2 are pretty, I think, spot on for me. Stage 3 is a little goofier, depending on where you decide to take your team. Just know that when you introduce tactics, like a lot of high-level tactics for them, they're going to get worse, because if they have to think about things, it's going to get them away from focusing on their individual possession. So yeah, anytime you bring outside influences like information, sideline screaming, all that stuff, it does stifle the ability to think. So anyways, I appreciate your question, and I'll email you shortly with my 3 stages of possession. And thanks for the question. And I am out. Goodbye.